What's up, guys? So today this video is going to be on Libra, the 7th sign in the zodiac. So this will be about the 15th video in the series. I think it's like the 8th video in the sun signs portion of the series. So we're going to talk about Libra's dates. We're going to talk about qualities that Libra has, some keywords we can associate with Libra, and things like that. We'll even talk about some famous Libras in this world for you to be able to look at them, you know, like in a social realm, in order to be able to look at other people, not just yourself, or maybe even close friends that you know that are Libras that you might be watching this video in order to be able to relate to more. I'm going to basically give you the keys to use this in the outside world, which is why I included that element of recognizing some famous Libras in the world too. So let's get started with the video. So the first thing that we're going to need to know about Libra are the dates. So Libras, you are going to be from September 23rd to October 22nd. So if you came after September 23rd, you're going to be a Libra. And if you came before October 22nd, you're going to be a Libra as well. Anytime after October 22nd, you're going to fall into the Scorpio category. Alright, so let's move on to the next topic that we need to know about Libra. So, Libras are represented by the scales. So, scales are basically going to govern balance, equilibrium, justice, things like that, which is why you might see some Libras being more calm than other people you may have, came across, or more diplomatic, things like that. Okay, so this glyph of Libra kind of looks like this. I will insert a picture somewhere on the screen. I can never really tell where I'm going to end up putting it until I start editing. But this glyph is supposed to be a representation, kind of like the scales, equilibrium, balance, things like that. In ancient Egyptian times, this was supposed to be a symbolization of the sun setting. This was supposed to be kind of like a representation of like a doorway between two worlds. So what's another symbolization that we can learn to associate with this glyph of Libra? This glyph, when you look at it, is basically like this hump connected to two straight lines over one bottom line that's straight on the bottom. So this glyph of Libra is basically going to be a hump in the middle connected to two straight lines over one large line on the bottom. So these two lines connected to that hump, which is a representation of the crescent moon, these two lines are supposed to be a representation of reason connected to the crescent moon, a representation of emotion over the line of partnership. So reason, we know that Libra is represented by the scales. You can't balance anything out without reason. This crescent is supposed to be a link to emotions, linked to the moon, and then this line on the bottom is just going to be a line of partnership. We are going to talk about how this can be associated with Libra through its rule of Venus. So let's move on. So we know that Libras are going to be masculine cardinal signs. If you don't know what these terms mean, don't worry, or any other term that I might use in this, like sun sign or air sign, something like that. I have already made videos on those, so I will leave those links in the description if you need a quick recap on that, or if you just need to learn it before watching this video, or feeling like you're ready to watch this video, you can go ahead and click on that. If not, we're going to keep going. So like I said, Libras are going to be masculine cardinal signs. Cardinal signs, just a quick overview of that, they are basically going to be the initiators in this zodiac of 12 signs. So Libra is going to be one of those signs that are starting something, or it doesn't have to be even starting something from scratch. It could just be, like making something better, creating something new out of something that may have already even existed. So an example of this is how you might meet Libras, and when you meet a Libra, or you even see a Libra in this world, you might be like, yo, that person seems like a trendsetter, or somebody that might even just make a trend better. That's something that you might see in Libras, especially Libras that are very connected to like social media. They may be, people on Instagram or Twitter or something like that are always bringing up new topics, maybe wearing new outfits that make you want to be like, yo, maybe I could do that too, or something like that. They're trendsetters in this world. They're always going to be, somebody that's going to be an individual cardinal sign that's starting something and or making something better. So what else should we know about Libras? Libras are air signs. So this is why you might see a Libra being very sociable or diplomatic, things that lead you to be a little bit more communicative with others. The downside to this is that air signs can be a little bit detached, and it's kind of weird how being so connected to a lot of things can lead you to be detached. But how can we explain this? Basically, it's like if you have so many responsibilities on your plate, you might not be able to put your whole energy into it, as like maybe an earth sign might be able to put all of their energy into one thing because they don't really want to start the next until they know that they are secure in one before. So like air signs are going to be a little bit different, especially when we get to Libras, who are very, very, very sociable. So they basically can be labeled as being more flaky as other signs, even more maybe as other air signs, because like I said, they are those trendsetters and they always have that eye on them, and people that maybe want to, like pick their brain about something. Libras are very diplomatic, so those are the people that might have a lot of people coming to them for advice or something like that. They always have something on their plate, and like I said, they are an air sign, and air signs get bored very easily. So it might not even be that a Libra is too overwhelmed with this. It's just something that they might even just be used to, and so you might never see a Libra just not doing anything at all until maybe they might have burned themselves out, or they're just having a day where they can be a little lazy, because Libras can be a little bit lazy sometimes. It's hard being a trendsetter all the time. Sometimes you just need a break. But anyways, like I said, there can be a negative side to being an air sign or being a Libra, where you have so much stuff that you're doing constantly that you might not really be connecting to it, as well as that, Venus rule, which we'll talk about next, might want you to. There's a lot of things that you might be trying to do at once, so you might be a Libra that's just constantly, forgetting that you made plans or double booking yourself. And if that is you, if you feel like you fall into that category, or if you're a friend and you feel like the Libra that you're watching this for, or somebody with a lot of Libran influence, does this to you, this might be something that you want to talk to a Libra about, because they might not even be realizing it. I know that this happens a lot with Libra moons, or it might even be the flip side, where Libra moons, because their emotional energy is attracted to people that might have Libra-like qualities, they might have people that are constantly flaking on them too, and that might be something that you want to talk to them about. Listen, we had plans and you just constantly keep flaking on me, or you're constantly, even if I am with you, you're a little bit detached. You might be on your phone a lot, or you might be constantly thinking about the next thing that you're supposed to be doing and not being present with me in this time that we're sharing together. That might be something that you want to just have a sit down and talk to Libra about. So let's move on to some other qualities about Libra. So I know I haven't started my part of the series on planets yet, but we are just going to talk about another thing that we need to know about Libra, which is that they are ruled by Venus. So Venus was the god of beauty and harmony, and everything kind of associated with that. They also rule material things, but material things associated with Venus we talk about more with Taurus, because Taurus are that earth sign which are usually associated with material things. So we're going to talk about the flip side of that Venusian rule that we might see in astrology associated with Libra. So like I said, Libras are ruled by Venus, so they are constantly going to be concerned with things that they find very beautiful, constantly concerned with making sure that everything and everyone is in harmony. And how can we see this in the real world? So I talked about this in the sister signs video, which was talking about Libra versus Aries, how Libra might be constantly labeled as being fake or something like that, because they constantly want things to be in harmony. So there is a good and a bad side to this. What can we say about the bad side right off the bat? Bad side is that Libras constantly want things to be in harmony, so they might stretch the truth a little bit. Like I said before, they might overbook themselves because they're trying to make sure that everybody that they care about is being satisfied, with that Venusian and love being that they want to just make sure that everybody feels love, but in doing so they might actually do the opposite, which is something that you should think about, Libras that are constantly trying to please others and maybe not yourself. Sometimes you're spreading yourself a little bit too thin, and because you're doing that, you're not really helping others that way. What else can we talk about this Venus rule that Libras have? Libras are, the good side of this Venusian rule is that because they are ruled by Venus, they are very good at making people feel loved when they're not stretching themselves too thin. If you have a Libra friend, you're probably very thankful for having them at points when you're very down or something like that, because Libras, they always are going to try and make you feel better. They're going to know those things that you love, because most likely, if you have a Libra in your life, you both like the same things, or you like certain things enough to be able to, you know, like bond over that or something like that. So if you have a Libra friend and you're feeling down, you know, you could maybe go to them, or you should also recognize that sometimes a Libra is spreading themselves too thin, and they might not be as open to like explaining that, because maybe they feel like they have a reputation to hold up where they're constantly, you know, like out and about and doing something great, you know, being like kind of popular or whatever. Sometimes you might need to have a talk with your Libra and be like, listen, you're doing too much, like calm down, it's okay, it's okay. What else should we know about this Venusian rule that Libras have? Libras are usually very calm people. Any Libra that I've been around, I've never really seen them pop off. One thing that I do want to note about Libras is that because of this reputation that they have in this world for being these trendsetters or very, you know, kind of like popular people, is that, you know, like when you're watching a movie and there's like somebody that like ends up making it big, and then, you know, they kind of like lose their mind and they forget who the fuck they were and whoever was in their life before them, and they want to act like they shit. I fucking hate you! Libras might do that sometimes. It's kind of like inevitable for them, because it's like they are born to like the good parts of life, kind of like a Leo is born to, you know, like the limelight and to shine. It's kind of like that, but sometimes you might forget where you came from, and that's okay, because Libra, you have all of these people in your life and you have all of these friends. They are going to need to be the ones to let you know, if you can't recognize it for yourself, that you're doing too much. Like sometimes you might let, you know, all these people gassing you up online, they don't really know you personally, get to your head and make you forget, like, you know, the important things. And so what I will recommend to Libras is that you stay very connected to the people that know you the most, because if you're Libra, you know that you know a lot of people, but a lot of people might not know you personally. So you need to make sure that you can separate those people that like you because of the things you do and like you for who you are, and stay connected to the people that like you for who you are at the end of the day, because those are the people that are honestly going to be the most important to you deep down, and you know this. So I talked about how Libras are represented by the scales, which can lead them to be very diplomatic and like judgy people. When I say judgy, you can be very judgy, kind of like Virgos are very critical of situations and, you know, be like, yo, that doesn't look right, that's tacky, that's this, that's that. Or you can be judgy or judging in the way where you're constantly trying to find both sides to a situation, which can lead you to be a little bit indecisive. What a Libra needs to be able to do to become a developed sign is to be able to more easily balance things out, or more easily become the voice of reason, because honestly that's what this zodiac is looking at you for. I talked about, I think in like the first sun signs video, that every sign is basically going to be a specific archetype that we rely on in this world. So I talked about how Sagittarius or Gemini in the sister signs video kind of lead us to have that education realm, or that teaching that we kind of need. Also Virgos might be those signs that we look for teaching. But Libras are going to be those signs that we need, that archetype that we need in this world to keep everything balanced, to keep everything in harmony. Libras are the ones that are putting out that energy that might lead people to, you know, be like more loving and be like people that just want everything to kind of like sit together and be okay, no like, you know, harm going on or any arguments or something like that. We need Libra to be able to do that, and when times get tough, we need Libra to be able to do that, unfortunately not taking a long time. If you know any Libras might, like, you might ask them like a question like, oh hey, what do you want to do today? What do you want to go eat? What movie do you want to watch? Oh, you wanted to hang out, what did you want to do? And they might be like, I don't know, I didn't really think that far. Or we could just do whatever you want. You know, it's okay, we can just do whatever you want, I don't care, like, let's just do it. And you're just getting so frustrated because you're like, yo, this was your job, you were supposed to plan this. You know, like Libras, they just always want to make other people happy, or they want to make sure that other people are satisfied before them, to a fault sometimes, because you can't make a decision. It's like the other person that you're trying to please is getting unpleased or displeased because you're just making shit difficult. Like, come on. And it's like sometimes people know that Libras are constantly trying to please others, so they want to try and put them first, and they want to be like, listen, so what do you want to do? And the problem with that is that Libras are put in this world, or, you know, their spot in this world is kind of to be those people that are making sure that everything is harmony. And so when they have to kind of like make that decision about what should actually happen, sometimes they get kind of stuck because they're like, yo, this is I've never heard of this before. Like, what, I'm supposed to decide this? I've never this is weird. And it's like, you kind of have to cut them some slack. But if you're those people that I talked about before that are very close to Libras personally, you need to be able to talk to them and be like, listen, it's time for you to make a decision. Okay, what else should we know about Libras? Libras have this Venusian rule, which leads them to be very attractive people. And I'm not talking about attractive physically. I'm talking about just like in like the vibrations that they give off to other people. Like, there's no other way for me to explain it besides them being very attractive people. Like how I mentioned that Leos, even if they're not doing something big, even if they're not wearing something big or something like that, they are just luminescent. Like, you can't miss them. They're very brilliant people. And it's kind of the same way for Libras. Like, you're just attracted to those people. It might be because of their calm energy, or maybe because they are these trendsetters or whatever. I don't know. But I've just always noticed that about Libras. Even if it's not me interacting with them or somebody else explaining how they feel about a Libra, that's just something I wanted to know in here, because I don't know, you might be thinking that too, and you're like, am I crazy? Am I crazy to be constantly attracted to Libras? No, you're not. And if you are those people that feel like you're kind of like suffering because you're constantly attracted to Libras, I'm sorry. So I talked about how Libras were cardinal signs and how they are ruled by Venus. So how can this be kind of negative, and how can we teach Libras to use this in a more positive way? So I talked about how Libras are very attractive people. So Libras are constantly like concerned with like things about like love and harmony, almost to a fault, because it's like, since we have this cardinal energy that kind of want to start stuff and like have things in control, when you get into relationships, whether they be platonic or romantic, you might be too controlling in that relationship. And I know this might sound a little weird, because I'm like, Libras are constantly trying to please, but they do have this reputation that they might like unconsciously try to uphold in this world. So they might be a little bit too controlling of the partners that they're with. Like, you know, since they want everything to be perfect and, you know, like in love, when they're with the people that they actually love, they might like nitpick at them too much to a fault, where it's like, listen, this outfit doesn't look good, we're not going out until you fix your outfit, or like I don't know, something like that. And it's like, you might not realize that you're doing that, but the people around you might kind of like catch on to that energy. So it's really important for you to kind of like, you have learned how to accept yourself, and you kind of feel like you have this image that you have created for yourself that you want to protect, but it's like, other people are never going to have the same image as you, because if they did, then you wouldn't be that trendsetter archetype that we have in this world. So you need to learn how to kind of like make sure that the people in your life, the people that you love and that know you personally, don't feel like you're not okay with them and how they are. It's okay to want to try and help somebody, but it's not okay to try and change somebody in order to better fix the picture that you want for yourself, because that's fucked up. Like, don't do that shit. So let's move on to some other great qualities about Libra, because I feel like we kind of just like went down here. We're just gonna go back. Rewind. Libras are very charismatic people. This comes from this Venusian rule that they have, and this also comes from them being an air sign. So what do I mean by charismatic? They have a way of like constantly being able to get what they want, whether it's a Libra or somebody maybe even with like Libra Mercury, Libra rising, Libra influence. It doesn't matter what it is. That charisma will help you. It will help you, because like, if you've ever met a Libra, they can talk their way in and out of anything. Literally anything. And this can kind of be like with air signs too. Like, if you've ever met an air sign, like for example, my grandma, she's an Aquarius. That's another air sign, and she can talk her way into anything. She probably could talk her way onto a plane just from having like so many connections that she has. And you know how TSA is in America now. Like, that shit's crazy. Like, but that's her, and that's like kind of how I relate Libras and other air signs together, because like they have that charisma and that way of like being able to like stay detached enough to like stay like focused on their goal, but like connected enough to get what they need. And it's so crazy. Like, it's weird, it's scary, but it works. So, what body parts does Libra rule? Libra rules the mouth, the lower back, the buttocks, and the kidneys. Buttocks. The ass. The buttocks. That's such a weird word. Anyway, so, Libra rules the mouth. I talked about this in the Taurus video, basically because Venus rules over senses. Taurus is going to be ruling over the ears, the nose, and like other body parts that are linked to senses. But Libra is going to have the rule over the mouth, so taste, which is maybe, even if you're not talking about it in a literal sense, taste like, oh, they have good taste in clothes, they have good taste in movies, which is why I said that Libras are labeled as these trendsetters and or people that just, are very stylish and attractive people, okay? But they also rule the lower back, and they rule the kidneys and or the buttocks. So it needs to be very, very important to you as a Libra and like other signs with a lot of Libra influence, maybe even like Libra and or Saturn in Libra. Be sure and be aware of like the problems that can be linked to these body parts. I talked about how like Cancer may have problems with their chest area when they're uncomfortable. They might have like a very heavy chest or something like that. Aries might get headaches when they're uncomfortable. Libras, you need to be aware of the stress that you're putting on yourselves with your body. When you're very stressed out, you might start to feel some pain in your lower back or something like that, or you might just have complications with these specific areas in your body. So just be very protective of your energy and your body, and you should be fine. Just be aware of that. Some keywords that we can learn to associate with Libra are going to be eye balance. How can we get this? Well, we talked about how Libra is ruled or represented by the scales. So scales are always trying to balance stuff. So we're going to be associating with this with balance, equilibrium, and like harmony. So those are the keywords that we can associate. And the last thing that we're going to talk about in this video are going to be famous Libras in this world. There's Matt Damon, Zac Efron, Eminem. Who else? I'm pretty sure Kim Kardashian is a Libra. I'm not sure. I think she is. There's Will Smith. I think Snoop Dogg. Snoop Lion? How do you... I'm not even sure if it's like... Is it okay to call him Snoop Dogg? Did he change his name back? Was that a joke? I don't know. Famous Libras in this world, we're going to have Eminem, Zac Efron, we're going to talk about Snoop Dogg or Snoop Lion, whatever he wants to be called, Kim Kardashian, Will Smith, and the list kind of just goes on. So you can look at those people and be like, yo, I can definitely understand like how those were trendsetters, or how those are people that are very attractive, or any of the other qualities that I've listed in this video. So that's the end of it. Thank you for watching. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to like, subscribe, keep watching for any other videos, whether it's about your sign, another sign planets that you're trying to learn about, whatever. This channel is going to have everything. So thank you for watching, and bye.